thank you for coming to my channel. This is Rocket Man Mike. As usual, Houston, Texas, 8:30 at night, just getting off of work. On my way home to Baytown, Texas. Gonna take I-10, it's about an hour drive. Figured I'd do some vlogging while I'm riding. And you know, when you get big guys that are on these little tiny bikes, I've just, I've seen, 350-pound dudes on little 750s, and, these big burly dudes sometimes are on their little Suzuki GSX-R 1000s or something like that, and they just look so freaking weird to me. I think they look too big for the bike, and I'm not saying the bike doesn't have enough power to support that kind of weight, but those bikes aren't built to hold that kind of weight. Just because it can hold that kind of weight doesn't mean that it should. You know what I mean? I mean, think about it. If you're on a Gixxer 1000 and you weigh 350, you might be having fun on that bike, but that bike is not doing anything near what it's meant to do. It's just not made to handle that kind of bulk. It really isn't. Same thing with these, the ZX-10s and these 750 cruisers and stuff. Those bikes are not made to handle that kind of bulk. Those bikes, so I mean, they're just, like I'm trying to say, it's just not the kind of bike that a big guy should have. It just looks funny. It really does, and shit, back in the old days, we'd see little guys on little 250s, 350-pound guys riding around on little 250s. All you saw was their big fat butt and two wheels. It looks crazy. Looks uncomfortable, for one. You don't see the seat because the seat's kind of buried in that large booty that's on that freaking thing. That goes for chicks too, Now, chicks generally drive smaller bikes, and I get it. Sometimes it's a strength thing, and I'm not saying girls are weak, but it is a strength thing. In the old days, we used to say, don't ever ride a bike that you can't pick up off the ground. That was like rule number one. I remember my father taking me outside and saying, all right, son, he'd lay the bike on the side, he'd say, pick it up. I was 10 years old, my first bike was an XR75, and if I couldn't pick it up, I wasn't riding it, so you bet your butt I picked that damn bike up. And I remember a friend of the family, his name was Richard Lopes, he was there with me, and he was teaching me how to do the clutch and the gears, and I was all impatient. All I wanted to do was get on that bike as soon as possible. And I remember I took off and I rode that thing in second gear for a few miles out into the woods. Then the bike stalled on me because I couldn't shift it yet, and I didn't know enough to put it in neutral. So everybody else had to walk out there and go get me. They weren't too happy with me. That was my first ride ever on a bike. 1970, what was it, 1979, 1978 that happened? Yeah, those little Honda XR75s were good bikes, man. Good bikes. So, what I thought I'd do is I'd go over the bikes that I thought would be good for big guys. Bikes for big guys. What are my recommendations? Now if you can't tell through this well-chiseled physique, I'm a pretty big guy myself, right? And I definitely take size, and I take power and torque and everything else. I take all that into consideration because I want to be able to make sure that I don't look stupid on the bike while riding it. Now, what do I ride? I ride a Triumph Rocket 3, a roadster version. I used to own the touring version. It's one of the biggest bikes you can get. It's a 2300cc engine, lots of torque, lots of power. Doesn't matter how big you are, you're gonna feel small on a bike like this. What other bikes are out there? okay? And I'm not going to, get too much into the types of bikes. I'm just going to name some of the bigger models of different types of bikes that cross my head. And if you think of something that maybe I missed, hey, post it below. Let me see what you recommend, or let me see what you think. First thing I'm going to say, sport bikes, fast bikes. Two jump out to me real quick, and that's the Kawasaki ZX14 and the Suzuki Hayabusa 13. Both bikes, comparably, they're about the same. Kawasaki, I think, is a little bit bigger, a little bit more powerful, but pretty much the same as far as size, type. Can't go wrong with either one of those at all, So if you're too big to ride either one of those fucking bumps, man, you can't talk for the shit, because you know what? The Houston roads suck. That's why. Worst fucking roads I've ever been on. If you're too heavy or you're too big to ride either one of those bikes, then you might as well hang it up about riding sports bikes, because it's not going to get much bigger, all right, unless you custom something. So yeah, those two sport bikes, they're good sport bikes, powerful, and they're big enough that a fat guy or a big guy is not going to look like an idiot on one. Sport touring, that's kind of the in between a cruiser and a sport bike. You have the FJR 1300 by Yamaha. Again, it's a little bit smaller than those sport bikes, but it's just the way the bike looks. It's taller, it's longer. It's got those hard saddlebags that could fit a helmet in there. Yamaha makes it. It's probably the top sport touring bike out there. And then Kawasaki makes a bike called the Concours 1400, which personally I think it's a really bad rap anyway, man. I think those are sweet bikes. I test road run, very fast, very big, perfect for touring, perfect for racing, kind of a little bit of both. Very nice bike, but for some reason owner satisfaction of those bikes is just shit. People usually buy those bikes and within a few months want to get rid of them. I think they get bored with them. And but it's a big bike. It looks nice. BMW K1300, kind of a sport touring also, but that's more of a luxury touring than sport touring, because you got to take into account the price tag of those things. Let's see, of course you got the Honda Goldwings, right? The Valkyries. I don't think they make the VTX anymore, but you got this, Honda has a new Valkyrie out. I think it's about a 1400cc engine on that thing. And it's their sport touring version of the Valkyrie. It uses the same engine as the Goldwing. And it has really futuristic looks, and it's got like a trunk, and it's got these crazy hidden compartments, and it's an overall pretty good bike. Perfect for big guys too. Very sporty, very modern looking. They almost look like concept bikes when you see them. You should check them out. Yeah, those new Honda Valkyries are really nice. Then what else do we got? Well, we also got the BMW K1600. That's a luxury touring model. Beautiful bike, very expensive. You're gonna look at a good 30 grand for something like that. And perfect for big guys. It's big, it's adjustable. You can adjust it for weight, has adjustable shocks, adjustable windshield, has all the bells and whistles that you could ever want on it. For that kind of cash, it better. And then, of course, the Honda Goldwing Interstate version, which in my opinion, that's probably the top of the line when it comes to long-distance touring and comfort. Those things built in intercoms, GPS, satellite radio, a little bit of everything. Those bikes have a little bit of everything. And they're really, really good bikes. take care of them, do your scheduled maintenance, those things will last you forever, man. And then of course you got the Triumph Rockets. You know, you got the Triumph Rocket 3 Touring and the Triumph Rocket 3 Roadster. Definitely the big boys on the block. One thing about Triumph, I mean, yeah, everybody knows they're big, and you know, people either love them or hate them when they ride them. You know, first time I test rode it, I'm telling you right now, I hung up everything else and I went right for these Rockets. But I'm telling you, the thing that really pleases me most, especially on the Roadster model, it's just the loads of torque that this engine puts out. I mean, it makes every ride feel feather light. And I mean, I get a smile on my face every time I turn the gas, because you just get up and go instantly. There's no lag. The bike doesn't feel like it's having to really struggle to move you. You just go. And that's what I love about it. Solid bikes, man. Triumph Rockets. Test ride one. I think you might be impressed. You know. And then of course, so another bike that's, you know, it's kind of the new thing that's coming out. It's kind of a modern twist on what we call the off and on, and that's like the Suzuki V-Strom, the Triumph Trident. You have BMW makes one. I don't know exactly what they call it, but it's those bikes that are kind of a combination of dirt bike and street bike. They're really tall. They usually have like square saddlebags or something on the back. A lot of people use them to commute, because like if you got to go down a dirt road or do some over the, you know, cross-country riding, or you know, do some off-road riding, you could do it with that thing. And man, I think they're nice. I love the off and on concept with the bike. You know, I like that versatility. I like to be able to think that if I'm traveling and I'm going somewhere, and let's say I have to go down a dirt road, or maybe take a shortcut through some not so well paved roads or highways, or maybe get into some sand or something, that my bike can handle all terrains. And that's what these bikes are basically built for. They try to make them as comfortable as possible. The only downfall with these kind of bikes, they're really, really tall. So, you know, rule number 2 when I was growing up is, before you ride a motorcycle, you have to be able to comfortably touch the ground. Well, on these bikes at 5'10", I can't touch shit. My feet are freaking hanging. These bikes are really tall, and they're made that way on purpose so that you can go through water if you need to, or of course, you know, go cross country. That's my 2 cents today. Rocket Man Mike, Houston, Texas, on my way home. Houston, good night. Thank you for watching.